I love bizarre things, and I found a bizarre thing today, which I hadn't come across before. I was looking up a reference for the first time. Rutherford used the phrase, "Millions now living will never die." And that didn't sound like Rutherford, of course. I don't know where that came from. And I didn't know there was an album called "Millions Now Living Will Never Die." Very famous album by, I'm reading from Wikipedia, so it may not be exactly right, of course. But it's the second album by Chicago-based band Tortoise, or Tortoise, depending. Released in 1996 by Thrill Jockey Records. It's a groundbreaking album for post-rock. It appeared in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. But if we're not going to die, we don't have to hear it, do we? Anyway, the album's title is a reference to a phrase used in the Jehovah's Witness faith in the 1920s. They've tried to destroy those watchtowers, but it comes back to bite them on the bottom, doesn't it? It is, for instance, the title of an essay by Joseph Franklin Rutherford, this is again from Wikipedia, who was the second president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. And it was also the slogan of the evangelist, Aimee Semple McPherson. I've not heard of her before, looked her up. She died at the age of 53, so she died. She was saying that in the 20s. Died of an accidental overdose. So by March 1998, the album had sold over 50,000 copies. Right. So I'm going to put at the end of this a link to you being able to hear the whole album on YouTube. I've been trying to do these things where you put the little square at the end and you're supposed to click on a link. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. If I've not got it right, I'll put a link. Well, I'll put a link anyway in the description underneath. But I don't know. If you do listen to it, I want you to imagine. Okay. It's a balmy day in California. Now, it's winter. So Judge Rutherford is wintering in the warm climes of California. And he drives along, and it is, by the way, the Great Depression. So there are people queuing for bread. There are people camped out in Central Park. There are people escaping the dust bowls. Great poverty, awful poverty. And there's Judge Rutherford. He's driving in one of his luxury cars with one of his ladies by his side, and he's driving to spend the winter at Beth Sarim. You know, the place that the Jehovah's Witnesses bought for the princes to come and live in, the Hebrew princes, because they were about to be resurrected. So they built them this mansion, and it may not be news to you that they didn't turn up, did they? So yeah, Rutherford got to live in it and spend his winters there. And we all know that he did like his drinkers and he liked his ladies. So imagine him pulling up in his lovely limousine during the Depression and taking his lady, dressed in some nice furs, I can imagine, and they go in to the mansion's lovely luxurious lounge, and he pours some cocktails for her, big strong whiskey for him, and he puts on the phonograph this album, the album that was inspired by his wonderful prophecy that millions now living will never die. Enjoy.